podcast. I'm joined by my co-host
Yeah.
from the Big Picture Film Club, and we are here with Diego Rocha, whose film "The Fall" is screening at the London Independent Film Festival. So, could you tell us, Diego, about "The Fall" and what the film's
Yes,
about?
well, The Fall, it's a buddy movie. It's a story of friendship between a grandfather and his grandson. The grandson is 30, the grandfather is 80. The grandson is a forensic photographer. I mean, he goes after crimes and crime scenes and with the police and make pictures. The grandfather is kind of retired, so he spends his time at home drinking, have a bit of a smoke and try to enjoy as much as he can the last few moments of his life. As he says in the film, the only thing we have in life is time, and mine is running out, so he wants to make the most of that, and the grandson wants to keep him for as much as he can, for as long as he can. So it's about the two of them, that relationship, and the grandson having to come to terms with the fact that you can't, you know, hang on to something forever. You have to learn to let it go. It's what the film is about.
And where did you take inspiration from kind of creating this film from?
Well, it, to be honest with you, it began because I really wanted to make a film, right? So I began
Mm,
like digging with stories and things that I was interested in, and I knew from the beginning that I wanted to do like a buddy movie. Although in the end, some people might find that there's some humor, there is all the humor, that there's the banter between them, but it became a quite serious film. It became a quite serious thing. Like I was always a bit scared that I could make something that people would find some situations kind of infantile. Because I mean, it's easy
mm,
to get away with when you're planning your script. You just think those things, but when you get to get the thing, and I'm glad that it came out in kind of an adult kind of mature experience.
yeah.
And the whole thing is I wanted to write this film. I knew I wanted it to be a friendship story, a buddy movie. In the beginning, they were father and daughter. And then as I, developed it a bit more, I realized I wanted to be a bigger gap between the two. So the generation gap could play with,
Yeah.
this guy has one lifestyle that suits him. This one has other lifestyle that suits him. Where do they meet? Where one learns with the other, the difference between, obviously the grandfather has more to teach about life and stuff. So I was working on this, and then I found out, okay, it's a friendship story, and I wanted the work of the photographer to get involved with his personal life. I always
Mm,
wanted, the let's say the interior exterior kind of conflict to kind of mix up. And I was working on this, and then one day I kind of realized, because I always, a friendship story, you always need to ask yourself, how far would you go to make this friendship? How far would you go to realize, the
yeah.
love and for real friendship, and I found that it kind of ended up getting to something which is a similar dramatic situation from my previous film, a short film I did called The Coat, which is the need to sacrifice the things you love the most in life so you
Mm.
can grow up. There is a lot of this in the building up for me to get the story.
Um, and in casting, particularly when you're dealing with like a buddy movie, a team up movie, the chemistry between the two leads is so important. So how do you foster that? How do you cast for that? It's because you can't necessarily tell the right two people just by them reading individually the script on the paper. You kind of need that chemistry test, if you will. How did that process work?
Um, well, the thing is, when I first had, because this was funded by the Brazilian Film Fund, so it's soft money. I got some
Mm,
public funding, and then I got the right to raise some more money with companies that they got some tax reduction and stuff. So when I first got the news that I was going to had to do a pitch to try and get the funding, I called this actor in Brazil. quite famous actor at the time. I mean, he was quite famous. And then I said, I've got this project and I need to go to this pitch try and get the money. Would you be up to read and see if you like and be part of it? He said, yeah, sure. So he read the script, took him a while. He read the script. He said, okay, I'm in. You can tell them I'm in. So I went with this guy who was already a very well-known actor, and I pitched with the people at the film fund, and I told them I had this guy and everything. So it was him. So I was trying to find the other guy to meet him, but in the end he couldn't. He ended up signing a different contract that he was kind of already arranged before. And he said, but I will introduce you to my friend who is also another famous actor in Brazil, which is the one that we have, Gracindo Junior. And the thing is, Gracindo Junior, I sent him the script at 3 in the afternoon. When was like around 6, 7, he wrote to me saying, this is my life. I
Oh,
want to
wow.
do this. And now today, I mean, the film was shot 2019, was finished last year. Now this actor, Gracindo Junior, because he's having some health problems, and now he has what's the name? I forgot the name. You'll come back to me because I'm trying to think of the film.
Mm.
But he doesn't remember he did the film.
Oh, Alzheimer's.
Alzheimer's. So there is this very strong connection with
Mm.
what he did, the character that he played in the film, and what his life is right now. So he watched the film, his wife put for him to watch. He kind of got emotional. He smiled and everything, but she said he doesn't remember the process of making the film.
Wow.
So for him at the time, he was okay. So he said to me, I mean, 3 hours after I sent the script, I said, well, he's really involved. And
Yeah.
he is that kind of, very cheerful and everything. And the other actor, it was the same thing. I sent to different actors in Brazil. Some of them took a while. Some of them will say, "Oh, I've got this other thing. What is your deadline?" So in the end, this boy, Daniel, who did the film, it was the same thing. I sent the script around 5, 4. When it
Yeah.
was like 4 hours later, I'm in. So I met the two of them together in their house in Rio de Janeiro, and I said, "Guys, well, let's see. Do you guys know each other? Let's." I took them. We went
Mm.
for drinks. We wasn't COVID at the time. We could meet and everything,
Yeah.
and they lived nearby in Rio de Janeiro. And I said, "Well, I will meet with you guys, but maybe I'll leave you to it." And then I
Yeah.
left them. I left them for a drink, and then I thought, okay, I'll leave these two. And then later, like 2 or 3 hours later, I text them, Daniel, to say how it was. And he said, well, we're still here.
Wonderful.
So I thought, well, that's working. That's
Yeah.
working. So it was really like the two of them separated. They just told me how much that film resonated with their own life, with what they were going through, which experiences that they had. And they just, they just told me straight away that they were in, that they wanted to do it. So I thought, well, let's try and meet up. So we met. And I think, I don't know, I think I was lucky because so many other things could have happened.
Yeah.
So many other, it was the other guy before, the other actor who couldn't come in the end. His name was Otton Bastos. He was our first option because he, is quite famous in Brazil, and he let me use his name in that pitching. But in the end, it didn't work out. And I
Mm.
mean, for good reasons, because Gracindo and Daniel really, they really became friends, which is a good thing.
Yeah. And just finally, kind of, given the sort of journey that the film has had in order to kind of get it to completion, be it, from the health problems to pitching, like how does it feel just to kind of finally have the film finished and locked in and say, like just presenting it to the world and saying, hey, this is my film.
Well, it's two things. One is a kind of a relief after all the work, because I've been working on the script maybe 4 years before I shot the film, and then you have all the process, pre-production, all the tension of casting and getting everything, locations, blah blah blah, and then after the end, you still have all the post-production. I shot in Brazil, but I've edited the film here in London, where I've been based the last 12 years, back and forth between Brazil and here. So I've edited the film here, and then we had to wait for some more money to do the final post-production. So it took us a while at the end to get the final money. And then after it's ready, I mean, obviously, I'm excited to present the film. We had our premiere in LA, in Los Angeles Brazilian Film Festival. Now we are here at the London Independent Film Festival. And the thing is, there is also something else, because I mean, to us, to the guy who did everything, wrote, directed, and everything, you always think, that, oh, that bit could have been a little bit better.
Yeah.
Maybe we could do that. Maybe we could just polish. Maybe we could change that scene. Maybe we could. But there is always the it's always hard for us to watch and have the same kind of perspective of objective of watching the thing as if someone you watching it for the first time. Like in the end, after I think after sound mix, the whole thing begins to kind of become a big blur, because you just go through that same dialogue again. Okay, he says the same line, and then you repeat that same line 100 times. So everything starts to lose a little bit of the mystery by the time you're doing sound mix and everything.
Yeah.
And then you find it again when you watch with an audience. Then it's different. And even though I've watched it 100 times, when you're put into a film in the theater with a real audience, you kind of see it again through their eyes.
Yeah.
I haven't been in an audience because of COVID, but I did a test. I did a screening test, and I managed to get like 35, 45 people in a screening. And I was there in Brazil watching, and it was good to see when they laughed. It was good to see when they did like this. It was
Yeah.
good to see when someone looked at the other one in the side of them. Because then you think, that is doing the job.
Yeah. Yeah.
Those bits, and talk to them after, the emotion and everything. It was great. It was great. Difficult because you always like, that bit.
Yeah.
Great, great. Oh, it's great.
Cool. Well, Diego, thank you very much for your time today. It's greatly appreciated, and
Okay.
we look forward to watching The Fall.
Okay. Thank you, guys. It was
Cool.
a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.